Hey guys, Danny here, finally getting to my flat lay video. Yay! So I want to kind of break this up in a few different parts. One is going to be kind of the supplies that I use. Then I want to break it down from natural daylight, which is what I have going on right here, and I got to do this before I lose it. So natural daylight, natural sunlight to take the pictures, and then I'll do some studio lighting and show you how I do it with those. So let's get started. First things first, I usually like to try to find a beautiful surface to do your flat lays on. Now sometimes I'll use a desk. I'll use my white desk that you see here. Sometimes I'll use my altar. If I find a nice piece of wood laying around and it looks good, I'll put it on there. You can use just about anything. However, I've gotten a little clever. And if you go to the craft store, it is very easy to acquire what they call project paper. It comes in all different kinds of patterns and textures that you can find, as well as in the teacher section for bulletin boards, you can find these things. And I'm going to show you. So I like to use this. It comes in a roll, just like wrapping paper. But as you can tell, it looks like marble. So I cut a piece and I lay it on the table that I'm using. You probably noticed this before, this pattern. I hook it on and I use that as my table. I also use this here, very similar. Oh, let's see, yeah, there you go. This wood grain. This is the bulletin board paper. So it's literally like a sheet of paper versus this project paper, which is like wrapping paper. So that kind of gives you the texture. But because it's easily messed up, as you saw on that project paper, that, and I do watercolors on it sometimes, so that doesn't help it last. I have also taken to getting a foam core board, if you can hear that. So it's like a poster board, but it's like foam. And we plaster it on one side and this on the other. Ah, so convenient. So I can slip it onto any surface that I'm using. You know I'm gonna look at the wrong spot, y'all. I just caught myself looking over there and you're right here. Danny trouble. Anyway. So this has made it super convenient. No matter where I am, if I have some good lighting, I can throw this on there and use it. Second thing that I feel is uber necessary is a good tripod. So I like to use an arm. Kind of looks like this. This is my old one. It is mighty busted. This is my old one, but you can get kind of the idea. I'm going to show you my new one and how I've attached it. But this you can kind of hook on to whatever surface and it holds here. However, some, like this one, can barely take any weight and are just really hard to use. So this is the newer one that I have rigged here with a board on my window. Please excuse the ATV. Huddled on this side in the yard, hiding behind our porch. This one has a screw, so it really stays on really nice. It has this nice arm that's very sturdy, and then you can bend this down, and I'll show you that in a bit. So that is the main one that I use. Just because it's steady and it holds the weight of the phone. So always get a really good one like that. That's definitely my main recommendation. So now on to what are you going to be taking a picture of? I like to start with my main topic. So whether that be a product for my Etsy shop or my Instagram or my tarot cards when I'm doing a spread, I find my focal point first. So that's the most important. So let's go ahead and get this. Let's get it started. Okay, so I have my Line Strider Tarot. So let's go ahead and pull some cards and we'll go from there. because I feel like knowing what cards are there and the colors are very important. So I'm gonna pull 2 cards. Okay, so we have the Hierophant and the Ten of Cups. So this is a very pink and purple palette. So we're gonna start there. So here we go. Okay, so we've chosen this. We have the old table covered here by the window. We're gonna set our phone to where you can see it. I like to do it in a square format because that way I keep it contained, because I take my photos for Instagram, so I like them contained. That way I know what I'm looking at all times, okay? So I start there. What does my viewfinder say? Where do I want to set these? Do I want them to be in the center? Do I want them kind of down? So I set where I want my main focus, and then I get items that will correspond. Now you can do this as simple or as complex as you'd like. It's all about your own aesthetic. So let me show you my little box of magic. I always like to have a cup of coffee because sometimes just having that coffee cup makes a great picture, and you know, for drinking. So I always grab a couple of my crystals. I have a couple of those available, and then I have this box. I'm sure you saw it behind me. This has all the random things. I have a piece of wood, I have pieces of cotton, I have bark from a tree, obviously. I have all kinds of different flowers, leaves, berries, just random pieces of floral. I have an old blanket. This was Lennon's blanket when she was a baby, but it's got a great sweater texture. So I kind of look at what I have first. So what kind of look do I want to go for? What kind of aesthetic? Maybe like an early morning, I got my crystals out kind of look. So we have a lot of purple, we have a lot of pinks, so I'm gonna grab a couple of things, and I'm just gonna kind of lay them around. And once I figure that out, I'm going to take the picture and I'll show you a little secret. Okay, so now I have decided that this in my viewfinder is what I want for my picture. So you'll notice that I attached my headphones. Why? Because when you press the button to take a picture, it's gonna wobble, and you don't want it to do that. So what I like to do is plug in my headphones, that way I'm not shaking everything, and then you press the plus sign and watch. Boom, you have a picture. Now this will also lend if you would like to put your hand in there holding it and take the picture, which I'm going to do. But since I'm by myself, I'm going to go ahead and take that picture and then show you when I'm done. So there you have it. There is my picture that I took. It's exactly what I wanted. I didn't have too much of a shadow. Of course, you have a slight shadow where the coffee cup is, but that can definitely be helped with editing. It gets a really good shot if you have some nice natural light. I'm going to go over what I use and how I edit after we go over how I use my studio lights to do the same thing. So there you go, super simple. All you need is a table, a window, and a phone. So y'all know there's never a dull moment in this household. Lennon just ran out on the driveway, fell down in the gravels, knocked a big knot on her forehead. My poor baby. She's about as graceful as her mama. But she's fine, she'll be good. We got her some pain reliever, we got her some ice, lots of love, calm the panic attack, and we're good. So let's move on now. So that was my simple way. You don't need anything extra, just finding stuff around your house, creating your beautiful flat lay with the light of the day. Now, if you don't have daylight, there are a few different options. At first, I was using just any kind of lamp I could find, right? I used those for a while. Then, I think it's about 20 bucks on Amazon. You can get some LED strip lights. So for a while I had those stuck to my wall and around where I was doing my picture taking and videos. That worked okay for a while. However, you could never adjust it. So those were kind of stagnant, so they weren't as good. But then I went ahead and I bought, well, Jacob bought, my husband, because we both needed them. He needed them for his pictures for school and for when he does hair. And of course I needed them for this and that. So we got these. They're super nice and cheap. I think it was like maybe 50 bucks. They come with these huge LED lights. This all collapses and fits in this nice, neat little bag where you can travel with it. They have some telescopic poles so you can go whatever height you need. I kind of like to do them high because I always have light coming from the back. And you can adjust it whichever way you want. They are super bright and they do come in a pack of 2, and you really do need 2. Because if you just have one, you're always going to have a shadow on your other side. So especially if you're taking photos of, see how bright they are? If you're taking photos for products, sorry, I have hair that's caught. I'm okay, y'all. We gonna get it together. If you're taking photos, especially for products, or like for me, my tarot sometimes is my product because I do client readings, so I like to take pictures of the spreads and layouts to post on my Etsy. I definitely recommend getting light from all angles. Now my wall is, as you can see, they're white. So I have a really good reflection. If your walls are not white or wherever your surface is doesn't have that white background, a sheet, something to reflect that light back always helps. So let me show you this setup and how I place my lights. Okay, so before I do that, I also want to show you another little trick. This table that I was just on, I really like because I have my stuff set here, and this table goes up and down. So if I, please excuse my art desk, y'all. This goes up and down. It's got this mechanism under here that helps it go up and down. So I can get this lower or higher depending upon how much I want to see within my viewfinder, whereas this is more stagnant, right? I can't move this desk, so this is going to be a more stagnant pose. So whatever fits in my viewfinder is what fits in there. I can't fit any more because I can't go lower. So as far how I set this up, see, there's my other one. I'm going to turn this around so you can see, and I'll give you the full scope of it. All right. The not so glamorous look, trash cans, wires and all. So you can see I have them set up on either side of my desk. I have it hooked on my shelf here. And this is going to alleviate the shadow from my arm onto my table. You can kind of see it a little bit here. There's like a faint look of it, but I'll show you how to adjust to where you're not going to see that in the picture. So I want to go ahead and get, sorry, I don't want to wobble you around too much, my little foam. I'm going to turn it because you can see where I sit. It sticks out really far from my desk. So I damaged it on this side. So there you go. I have that already set. But now we're going to adjust a little bit just by moving in ever so slightly our lights. And the good thing about these, excuse me, I have art project papers everywhere. You can adjust this base to be as wide or as thin as you want. And you can see we've alleviated the shadow. So from there, after our shadow is gone, then we do the same thing. What do we want the focal point to be? Right now, I want to take a picture, if I can fit it, trial run, of the Celtic Cross spread from my Etsy shop. So I'm going to grab a tarot deck, I'm going to lay out the cards, and then we'll go from there. Okay, after a little bit of finagling, I was able to get everything in the shot like I wanted. I had to curve that side, but I'm okay with that. What I'm going to do is, I believe I'm going to have my hand in this shot. That way I make it a little bit more even. I have a candle here. I added some softness because I like that contrast of this like stark, hard lines. And then adding a few crystals and then something softer. So that would be a plant or a flower, something of that nature. So I really like the idea of having that balance. So I'm going to go ahead and stick my hand in there and I'll take the picture and we'll come back. All right, there we go. That's exactly how I want it to come out, give that little bit of balance. So now I'm going to go in and show you guys how I edit these. I'm going to show you the app I use and kind of some little tips and tricks to make your photos nice and bright and readable. So the app that I use, you guys, is PicMonkey. It's so simple. It's literally the only app that I use to edit. Right here, I wanted to show you with the phone in my hands. That way you can kind of see what my fingers are doing, how easy this app really is to use. All you're doing is dragging, pinching the photo to zoom in or out, and you can use the different elements one by one, and as you go, if something doesn't look right, you can erase it on certain parts of the picture, you can add it to others, and it's something that I really appreciate in an app, because most of the time if you put a filter or if you brighten the picture, it'll brighten the whole thing, and sometimes it just doesn't look right on your objects. So this is the perfect app to really take control of your editing. So right here you can see me kind of whitening and going in and out, zooming in and out to see what's going on. I wanted to kind of show you this before I go into the next part, which is the recording on my phone, where you can kind of see me going through the full motions and see how the photos turned out at the end. Okay, so here is our other photo. So basically I like to start with adjusting, right? So I like to adjust my levels. I like to make sure that if I'm noticing that when I brighten it or change the level, if there's something that makes kind of the objects look a little blurry, that I go and I erase those sections. I like to pinch in, I like to clarify each card, which just makes it a little more crisp. That way you can really see what the picture is portraying, the words. I usually find that really important, so I try to clarify each card. Now right here what I'm showing you is just some of the effects you can add to your photos, and again you can make that as bright or as dull as you want. You can erase it in spots. So I really do love the versatility of this app and all the things that you can kind of add to it. Now I'm going in and doing my most important part when I edit, and that is whitening. I like to make sure that everything is bright, and I try to get rid of as many shadows as I can. Now this process can take a little while depending upon how I do it. Sometimes I go in and I just do this, where I just kind of go around the objects that I want to lighten, and other times I think I do this in just a second. I'm like, no, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm going to color the whole thing and then erase. It's whatever I find is the easiest thing to do. Like I said, this app is really versatile. You get to mess around and play with the things as much as you want. Erasing and adding and subtracting is just so simple. So I'm going to let you see the rest of this process, and I'll meet you back at the end. that is it. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, if you're interested in learning anything else, or need me to explain anything else to you guys, by all means, please let me know. I loved doing this for you guys. If you would like to see any of those pics, if you do a flat lay, please tag me. You can find my Instagram below. You can find my Etsy shop. You can book a reading with me. All those links are below. So by all means, let me know if you do try this. And thank you again for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. Make sure you like and subscribe if you like this, because it really helps me out. And I will talk to you guys very soon. Much love. Mwah. Bye-bye.